row 8 here in Sepang. The warm-up lap begins here in Malaysia then. We have got...
And I wanted to hear from Mick. Mick, what's it like to race here in these temperatures?
Well, Simon, you've done it. It's, you know, I think you've got to prepare yourself and you've got to prepare for cold, hot or whatever. So for me, it was never...
For Malaysian motorsport, a proud day for Hafiz Syahrin and his family and friends gathered here at the Sepang International Circuit.
Well, at the moment, Matt, the sun is shining and 100
is 1 year ago when he started from 7th and finished in 4th place. And although he was penalised those 6 grid places yesterday, Marc Marquez still the top Honda on the grid, believe it or not.
There's Marc Marquez. He's just got Dani Pedrosa up alongside him at the moment. Rossi it is that still leads. Zarco is up behind him. We're now looking back at, oh, Marquez and Dani Pedrosa touch.
Marquez versus Dovizioso. How many times have we said that over the last 18 months in the MotoGP World Championship? Marquez then bringing up the inside of Dovizioso on the brakes into turn number 9. Still Rossi though. I think that was him reacting to the Marquez mistake. Hafiz Syahrin, the good news for Malaysian fans, I was about to say, there was no jump start, so what a launcher, what an aggressive first lap from the home crowd.
Just avoiding action. Did he grab a handful of brake maybe? Who knows, but...
You're right, guys. It's his reaction. Like, automatically you put a bit of input into the bars to avoid, but when you're on the edge of the tyre, it's enough to make it let go.
Non-Andrea Dovizioso, that's a battle we've seen plenty of times before. He gets into the slipstream now. Further back, there's Rins, Petrucci, there is Bautista, Maverick Vinales, and in 11th place still, Hafiz.
The 3 in front of him at this stage of the race, in theory, should have the slightly better grip. That soft rear tyre would have got up to temperature a little bit quicker. They should have the extra grip right now in this phase of the race. Marquez, Zarco and Rossi. Season best 4th place, replacing the man we just saw on your screens, Jorge Lorenzo.
All over the tail, we're on board with Vinales, desperate to find a way past fellow Spaniard Bautista, but can...
Quite clearly, Maverick Vinales, Andrea Dovizioso and Marc Marquez. Valentino Rossi and Johan Zarco, though, are still making the early running here. Maverick Vinales has got so much work to Honda, and he thought, well, I've got to do something about it. And as Simon said, the input with his body through the handlebars, it just meant that he crashed out of contention. A real shame for Andrea Iannone. His teammate Alex Rins at the second, faster than Miller on the Almapan with Ducati. And you can see Miller's just fallen into the clutches of Andrea Dovizioso as well. So this hot early pace, Jack Miller struggling to run it. Dovizioso picks his pocket in the...
Carol Abraham, confirmation on your screen there. Rossi it is that leads. It's just under 4 tenths now. It's come down. Zarco has just started to reel in Valentino Rossi.
Oh, it's a mechanical, yeah. I was just about to say that. Petrucci also now proving a bit of an obstacle for Vinales, although he has just taken that 8th place, although Petrucci's just struck straight back, so there's a real good fight going on there between Petrucci and Vinales. And Marquez Rossi showdown again. That's going to be super tight between Pedrosa and Jack Miller, the pair of them leaning on each other. Dani Pedrosa then picks up another place. He goes up now into 5th place. Fasto has been tyre durability, managing the tyre wear. Tends to in the final 5 or 6 laps run out of rear grip as Valentino Rossi. Big load of wheel spin as Dovizioso engaged in a real big fight. Claw it back with 14 laps on the corner left to go here in Malaysia.
Hafiz Syahrin is still in 11th place and he's pretty comfortable there as well. Across the line for Rossi then. A 201 after Iannone's departure at turn 15. He's now got some clear air and a chance to close in on Dani Pedrosa, who's having a good ride here in 4th place.
Well, his bike was on fire in the pit lane. Marquez a fraction slower by a whisker, 201.147. Zarco a fraction slower than Marquez at 201.156. Just 200ths between that, just underlines how crucial those 4 DNS were for Andrea Dovizioso in Jerez, in Le Mans, in Barcelona, and 3 weeks ago in the Twin Rim Motegi, where his faint World Championship hopes were completely
as you were into turn 15, under braking, Marc Marquez really is making up a lot of time, putting a lot of force and energy into that front tyre, as Marc Marquez always does. But as we come...
But it was Valentino Rossi. The doctor made the dream start. Look how much drive Rossi got off the line. He must have dumped that clutch the millisecond the lights went out, because corner entry to Jack Miller, so he's dropped back through the pack quite dramatically, quite alarmingly. He was 3rd on the first lap, was Jack Miller, fighting with this man, Johan Zarco. Marc Marquez last time around, half a second quicker than Johan Zarco. So the Frenchman at the moment, he can't live with this electric pace being set by Rossi. Zarco, he's got
baking hot here in Malaysia.
Hafiz Syahrin doing an outstanding job. Look at that, he started 23rd. He was already on the fringe of the top 10 at the end of the first lap after a brilliant launch off the line, a really aggressive finish. Just that rear tyre overheating and just no grip underneath him at all.
10 laps gone, 10 laps remaining, and Valentino Rossi puts in a 2:09. Not only is it his...
From the doctor.
Halfway point of the race, everything going well for Rossi. Marquez just struggling a bit to stay with it. He doesn't want another DNF. Yes, he's the world champion and it doesn't matter so much, but he won't want to be beaten by Valentino Rossi here in Malaysia.
No.
So he will be putting everything into these last...
On the factory Suzuki, it will be 6 in a row. When you come back to Valentino Rossi, he's currently in his worst ever barren run in terms of podiums on a factory Yamaha. In 13 years, Alex Rins, well, that was inevitable, really. Rins has been taking lumps out of Danny Pedrosa over the last 3 or 4 laps, and he's finally found a way through. So Alex Rins up into 4th place.
Pedrosa will have his hands full with the flat will do.
Again, like you say, Steve, it's another 2:01.0. How many of those has he reeled off in the first 12 laps of this race? Just keeping that cushion over Marquez at 1.2 seconds. Lynn Jarvis and the Yamaha management look on. And what they're looking at is their man Valentino Rossi at the moment. Marquez has just taken a 10th out of him on this first sector on lap 13. And 2 was his last lap, so he's well over a second off the pace, just struggling for rear grip. It has not been the Ducati's day at all. The top Ducati, Andrea Dovizioso in 7th.
In 1.5 laps to Marc Marquez. Ladies and gentlemen, cue the Jaws music. Marc Marquez is coming. Yeah. Maverick Vinales is past the Repsol Honda. The eyes of Marc Marquez are firmly fixed on a Movistar Yamaha up ahead of him. Despite that moment, let's see if he's lost any time through Sector 3. He has just lost the 10.
Marquez was going to think about the team championship. Who thought he was going to think about the constructor championship? That's all gone right out the window because he's got Valentino Rossi right in his eye line for the victory here in Malaysia. Maverick Vinales, it's 0.8 of a second as they come through the first 2 sectors on this lap number 15.
On the brakes, look at Marc Marquez. Unbelievable, he just closes up so much. But he really is going to have to go some here to beat Valentino Rossi, who, it has to be said, has been absolutely perfect. He's not made a mistake all race yet. They're on turn 5, blisteringly fast. Marquez had a huge moment here earlier in the weekend. Don't forget the sun's still baking down on us. We've got to hope now that the clouds don't produce any rain. Let's get up to 3, we come. And Marc Marquez is still 6/10 behind Valentino Rossi as we head onto the back straight. Marquez really is putting some energy in those mid. Leading by 0.6 of a second, and the doctor goes down.
A disaster for the doctor. Unbelievable. Can you believe it? Valentino Rossi on course.
Everything you need to know.
Well, Christmas has come early yet again for Marc Marquez. Andrea Dovizioso jumped off in Japan and let him win the World Championship. And Valentino Rossi, what an
I think Marquez was coming. It's a shame we were robbed of a special finale. Paul Espargaro's retired from this race. 3 laps remain. Marc Marquez leads by 4.2 from Johan Zarco. Is it possible that he
I think that was a bit like Le Mans, you know, on the last lap with Vinales, where he actually lost the rear. He's lost a couple of tenths already on this lap, so he's just hit a bit of a brick wall, Vinales, in terms of his podium charge.
Started 8th, did Rins. He's up to 3rd. He might force Suzuki if he stays where he is, and that would be equaling that record from 2007.
He's got Vinales covered. Vinales is running out of steam here.
Rins. He lost out to 2nd, provided he remained on the podium. It's been a long time for the Monster Energy Tech 3 team since they were last on the podium. April, of course, as we said at the start, from what would be win number 70 of his career. The battle for 2nd, well, you're looking now at Alex Rins. We're on board of them into turn 1. There is Johan Zarco.
The Suzuki podiums this year.
Johan Zarco, does he fancy one last look? I don't think he's got the tyres underneath him. Alex Rins, brilliant stuff for him. Patience can begin. The last corner is approaching here in Malaysia. 2nd and 3rd are sewn up, 4th and 5th likewise. As he rounds the final turn,